Hello magical hands, welcome back to another tutorial. Today's video happens to be a hair video and this is my first attempt of making a wig for myself. So if you're looking forward to making a wig for yourself, this is a sign. And of course it's a kincaid closure, all done by myself. So if it's your first time here, thank you for joining this family, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always coming back. Without any further ado, let's get into the video proper. For the hair, I'll be using this Blossom pack and it comes in 8 bundles, and then it comes in 3 different inches. It comes in 16, 18 and 20 inches, and this is color 2. So I'll read the instructions at the end of the video. For my tools, I'll be using this crochet pin, which happens to be the tiniest. That is what they said in the market, and I got that wig cap and also this closure net all from the same store at the market. I got it from the local market here. So I'm going to mark from underneath this closure. I'm going to mark 1 inch upward, and I'm going to draw a straight line. And then for the remaining part of the closure net, I'm going to find the midpoint, which is the middle, the center. So by the time I mark the midpoint, I'll go ahead with my ruler and make a straight line on that point. Now that is going to be where all my closure is going to end. That's going to be the straight line of the closure line. That's going to be the parting line, if that makes sense. Now for others, you might want to just draw the center line all through to the end and then leave some space at the front. I just felt like doing this, so just let's stick around to what I do. So for my closure, I'm going to be using the longest inches, which is the 20 inches, and I use the 2 bundles to make the closure. So I'm going to hold it up as seen, and then I'm going to cut very close to the weaved side of the weave on. So this quantity, I'm going to be taking little by little from it, and I'm going to use it to ventilate or to make my closure cap. So if you do not have a dummy head to place this on it, just quickly search on YouTube, search DIY dummy head, and I'm sure thousands of videos are going to show up on how you can create something or use something in place of a dummy head. So you can actually improvise this. So I have pinned mine and it's time for me to start working. I have done up to the part where I drew a line, like a dash, and you can see from the ends I didn't sew up to the folded side of this closure net. So now I'm going to show you guys how I was able to achieve this. I'm going to pass my crochet through the net hole. I'll just pick only 1 hole, and that is because we are close to the line where I drew and I want those sides to be very tiny. Now I'm going to use the crochet to pick at least 3 strands of hair and then pull back the crochet. When you are pulling it back, the crochet is going to close by itself. So now I'm going to use the crochet to grab both strands of hair and pull through the first pulled hair, and there we go. So this is how I'm going to pick tiny strands of hair, and I will go ahead to cover up that side. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to start moving to the sides. Now I'm going to do this sideways so I can get to my center part. So just another quick one. I'm going to pass the crochet through the net hole. I'm going to pass it through one of the holes, and I'm going to pick tiny strands of hair, then pick up the hair and pass through the already pulled one. So that is just it again. I'm still going to show you guys, but then I'm just going to go on and on so at least get to some level before I can come back. So you can see how it's looking when you pick it tinier than when you're picking it big. So guys, this hair literally took me 3 days to do, and that was because I had chores to do, I had errands to do. But if I was to add those hours together, I would have done everything in 1 day. So it's not as more taxi as it is, and considering that it's my first time, I think I would have done this in 1 day. If it was an expert, they would have done it in a matter of hours. So this is the next day. I am done with a whole side and I really like how it's looking. I know it's not looking perfect, but from afar you would not even tell that this was done with hands. I was so excited, but when you get close you can tell that this was handmade, and you will know that it's not a professional stuff. So this is what it's looking like. I was so happy with the progress so far. I had to hold the back down with pins because I was moving on to the other side. Now moving on to the other side, I'm still going to repeat the same process. Now when before you get to the line that I drew, before you get to the center parting, you can pick more strands, maybe bigger strands of hair. But when you get close to the parting, that is when you start picking smaller strands of hair. So for emphasis purpose, I'm still going to show you guys how to make this closure again. And this is basically just the regular crochet pattern, but just that you're more technical about it. You're picking tinier strands of hair where you need to pick tiny strands, and then you're picking more strands of hair when you are kind of behind or not close to the line. So you just keep repeating the same process and go on and on about it. Also, one thing I noticed while I was doing this is the fact that when you keep doing it, the more you do it, the more you get better at it. I actually became quite faster, but don't forget this video is actually playing on a forward. I added to the speed, but regardless, I started doing it faster and better than when I earlier started. It was literally like my hands were shaking. So I'm quite okay with the result I got, although it's not perfect, but you can see for yourself it looks good. So this is the third day and I'm done making my Kimke closure. I really like the results. I liked the depth, and the depth is just everything for me. So now guys, I'm going to show you all how I am going to attach the Kimke closure using my sewing machine. You can just use your needle and thread. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can just use your hand needle and thread to sew that through. So I'll show you guys how I attach it to this wig cap. So after I've placed my wig cap on the dummy head, I'm going to start placing the closure on the center line. I'm just going to make sure it is rightly placed on the center, and I'm going to use my pins to hold it down. So I'm going to use this hair clip to hold everything up so it can enable me to sew all around. You can use your hand needle to sew before you take it to your sewing machine, but I think I was cool. I think I was feeling like a pro because I know how to handle my sewing machine. So I just went ahead and sewed it all around. And then as for the other part of the hair, I'm going to mark all around how I'm going to fix it. That is going to make it easier for you, whether you're using your hand needle or your sewing machine. So my chalk was not visible in this video, but it was actually very visible. I could see it when I was sewing. So what I did mainly was to just mark the center line, but you can extend it all around to the sides, and this was able to help me sew accurately. So now that I'm done marking the points where I'm going to sew up the bundles, it's left for you to go ahead and use your needle and thread to mark this, to sew this all around, but I'll be using my sewing machine like I said. So this is how I will be attaching it. I'm going to start with the shorter bundles, which is the 16 inches, the two in the middle. I'm going to fix those ones at the back, and then I'm going to move on to the next one, which is the 18 inches. I'll move it to the middle, and then the longer one, and don't forget the 20 inches was what we use for the closure. So that is the whole math I did in attaching the